he turned around, and I came back and I said, well, I'm going to do the same thing. Well, he did the same thing, and and again, I didn't give him enough lead, and I hit the tail end of his airplane. And I said, you dummy, you should have learned something from the first run. Well, I learned from the second one, and next time I came around here, it's the same thing, only this time I got out and I aimed down here in front of him, figuring that, knowing that he was, his path was not like this, but it was like this. He was pointed up pretty well, but he wasn't going up. He was barely able to hold his altitude, and that was what happened with the first two runs. Well, this time I made sure, and I stuck my nose down and well in front of him and pulled the trigger, and I got to get it back up here again. And I could see my tracers hitting somewhere between the engine and the cockpit. I could see the tracers. And I got down and I pulled up, and I did. He flipped over on his back and went into a spin, and I went up there, and he spun all the way into the ground. And I figured that time that I had enough lead on him that I had hit the pilot, probably killed him, and that's why he went into the spin and never recovered. The plane wasn't burning or anything like that. But those were the two first planes I shot down. All that demonstrating here probably took 3 times as long as all the action actually did. But it was very, very quick. Those were the first 2 planes I shot down out there in the Pacific.
Well, while we've got the planes out, I remember, wasn't there one where you were kind of flying over a Japanese town and following one of the really good pilots? Or what? Thank you, Diz.
Oh, yeah, it was of course a couple of 2 or 3 months later. We were making the first raids carrier raids, that is, on Tokyo, and our target was a Mitsubishi aircraft plant out on the northwest side of Tokyo. And we had our air group by then was made up almost exclusively of fighter pilots, of fighter airplanes. We had 91 fighters on board and 15 torpedo planes, which were the only bombers we had. Well, I was in charge of leading the fighter escort. We had about 20 or 30 fighters in the escort of these 15 torpedo planes. As we were climbing in, my wingman called and said he couldn't get his supercharger to work, and we were climbing. Well, the base level was going to be 18,000 feet, and I had planned to be up about 24, and doing this all over the rest of the bombers and then the fighters scattered around. Well, without his supercharger working, there was no way he was going to get up to altitude. Our MOS was that if one airplane had a problem, that he and his wingman would turn around and go back, if that was necessary. Well, I told him to hang in there. I wasn't going to go back. If he wanted to go back by himself, he could. He didn't want to do that either. So I just throttled back and got in behind the torpedo planes, and very close behind the 15 planes. Told the other guys, another group, to take over the overall top cover, which was where I was supposed to be. And so we could keep up with the torpedo planes there without any problem. Finally, we got into our target, and the torpedo planes started peeling off like this. And as the last one went over, there was a Tony like this, came up from way up there, right down in front of me, and chasing this last torpedo plane. Well, when he went by me, I just jammed full throttle and jammed the stick forward, and I got on his tail. And finally, I gained enough on him. It took quite a while. So we were started at 18,000. It took me until about 10,000 before I got in close enough range to shoot at this guy. But I did. I shot and shot and shot, and finally he started to smoke a little bit, and he broke off and went on down. I watched him for a while, and he went way on down in the opposite direction, and I never saw him anymore. I was tempted to go after him and finish him off, but I thought better of it, and that I should stay with the bombers. And besides, I also had a 1,000-pound bomb hanging on me, and so I was really a bomber too. So I just stayed behind those 15 torpedo planes. We went down, and they dropped and broke out, and I dropped and took off for we had an escape route all planned out, and I knew the route, and I was following it. I hit certain landmarks and turn and such. So, well, I was doing that and pretty well away from the target. I looked up, and at about 12 o'clock, way out in front of me, I saw a bunch of tracers go across, and I knew, well, I couldn't imagine who it was, because we hadn't seen any Jap airplanes down that low at all. And I looked out there, traced the tracers back, and they were coming from a big yellow-nosed Hellcat. We had painted all of our noses yellow, and so when you were looking at an airplane head-on and they had a yellow nose, you knew it was supposedly friendly. Well, the tracers were coming across in front of me like this, And I just pulled back on the stick and went up and let him go underneath me. And I turned also, it was time to turn towards the coast. And I looked down, and they're very, very low on the ground, was in the air, but barely above the ground was this Japanese fighter. It was what we called a Tojo. And the Tojo was about, I guess it was the newest fighter they had at that time. And he was, I couldn't imagine what he was doing down, just flying along around, and it didn't seem to be looking for anybody or any airplanes or anything. So anyway, I thought, well, he's good bait, so I just jumped on him right there and got down and fired at him, and I had to flatten out because he was so low. And I went past him this way, came up and came back and fired again, and I just did this for, I would say 25 or 30 miles, and I chased him. He wasn't going too fast, maybe 250 or so, and I was easily kept up with him, although I was zigzagging here behind him. I'd go by so close, I could see chunks flying off his airplane, off his tail and wing, but he just kept on going. We'd gone maybe 15 or 20 miles doing that, and he never got above about 10 feet off the ground. We came to some high tension wires, big steel posts that they normally put the high tension wires on, and I was just rolling in, and I spotted them, and they were just, he went underneath them. He was so low, and I knew that if I tried to shoot and go underneath him, that to go underneath those wires, I would have had to hit the ground. So I pulled out above it and went on and came back and shot some more. And I kept chasing him, and I couldn't understand why this airplane wouldn't go down. Because he had to have hundreds of holes in him by then. We chased on around another 5 minutes or so. We came to this little village just on the outskirts of Tokyo. And I guess he changed his mind about where he was going to go, because he came over the edge of the town, and he turned and he was going down the main street in the opposite direction. And I came in behind him and gave him another burst as he was down there and pulled out. But I kept my speed up as fast as I could go because I felt that sooner or later some Japanese pilot's going to be flying along here and going to see what's going on. And if I get jumped by somebody, I want to have all the speed I can keep to engage him and get away from him. This guy was no problem to me anymore. He wasn't any problem to anybody. And he had so many holes in that airplane, I don't know what kept it together. But anyway, I passed him, and I just